Hello everyone, good morning. We are speaking again about your story for this term at Tale of Two Cities. And today, inshallah, we are going to speak about the chapters 5 and 6. As you can see, this is the chapter 5, is the Marquis of Evrémont. And this is the opening scene of chapter 5 in Paris about the Marquis of Evrémont, and this one is kind of a ruler of this part of the city, and he is coming home from his travel, and under his cart wheels some thing was hitting to the wheels, but he wanted not to stop to find what's about, but some crimes and scream and a lot of cars around him. So he stopped and he asked one of his men what's wrong, and suddenly they found that his car's wheel hit a boy and killed him right away. For the Marquis, he was dealing with the poor people there as a kind of animals, and they are not very important to him. So when the father of the boy came to cry near the Marquis, he just said that it's unbelievable. Why do you try to, as you can see in this line, it's unbelievable that you people cannot take care of your children. I hope my horse aren't hurt. So here he found his horse is more important than their children, and he just think about that they are careless people that don't care about their children. And between this all people, we will find that the father of the child called out again, and with the most unmerely cry, he said, "Dead." Dead, because the boy just did passed away at the right the same time. And now someone of these people said to him, "Be brave." He wanted him just to be strong and be brave against this bad accident. And it was that the poor little boy, someone was telling him this, the poor little boy child died in this way than to live. It's better for the poor little boy or little child, because these poor people just they are try to stay alive in this bad situation, bad life, poor life, and in all these bad circumstances. So it's better to find their final destination shortly. So if he lived more near to them, he will just be one of them. And this is kind of what? This kind of misery, when you find that your death is better than your life because you can't find a suitable life for you. These words were said by whom? And these words were said by Ernest Darnay. Can you remember this one? The man who has the wine shop. When the Marquis listened to that words from Ernest Darnay, he called him what? He called him a philosopher, and he just dropped them some golden coins, and he take his cart and he servants, and he just drive away. This crowd was like slaves, and they were very frightened, and they were very poor and sad. And now there is another woman just stood knitting, looked at the Marquis. Here the Marquis, she stared at him. You know, the stared, just when you look at something or someone by opening your eyes and just say nothing. And the Marquise find that her face was looked full of hatred and desire for revenge. This woman was Madame Duvarge, and the Marquise pretend not to notice her. And this is a very important point, because later you will find that they had a past relation, and they had some secret to hide from by each others. Okay, and now it didn't take a long time before the Marquis reached a poor village where his castle was located. The village, when he just entered, the people was very poor and in very bad condition too. They just earned a measly amount of money and a lot of which went towards paying taxes, and he takes all these taxes just to fill his pockets with their money. Heavy taxes and almost killed the villagers who could not afford the cost of living. When the carriage stopped in the front of the castle, one of them rushed to the Marquis, and he told him that there is something strange dust under the cart, but the Marquis doesn't care about this, and he said, okay, and who was he? And he asked his people or his men just to find this man who was under the wheel of the cart. Okay, and he doesn't care about this small accident for the killed boy or for this strange man who was under his car. And when he entered, he was told that he has a guest, and the guest was whom? Was Charlie Darnay. Can you remember this? This is his nephew. When he finally entered the castle, the Marquis had one question for the servant, and he was told that he has arrived from England yet. They said, yes, my lord, he is waiting upstairs. Who was waiting? Charlie Darnay. He was his nephew, as we said, and he was known in England as Charlie Darnay, not Charlie Evremont. He was changing his name while he was staying in England, and what's the reason for this? That's because Charlie Darnay felt shame about his family and their attitude towards his people, and he was not pleased to be associated with such a family because they were very, very disgraceful family. Here we will find a lot of speaking between Charlie Darnay and his uncle about the old and bad actions for this family. And his uncle said to him, I thought or I have heard that you find a shelter in London with a doctor and his little daughter. So Darnay here didn't say no, at the opposite. He said yes, and I live there, and his daughter. This is a very well place for me, and I will stay there. The Marquis said, okay, this is, I think this is kind of mysterious on his face, and he said, Charlie, you look tired, now go to sleep and we will speak tomorrow. When the Marquis went to his bedroom, he just thought about his day, not caring about anything at all, and just was thinking about the accident, but without any feeling of guilty about the died boy. And when he went to sleep, it was everything was calm. But at the next morning, there is a lot of chaos, and some people was running everywhere because they found the Marquis was dead, and he was kind of a stone, a cold stone here, cold. He was kind like a stone cold in his bed with a knife, slicing his chest, and this knife, he was covered in blood, and not by laying beside the body, saying a note, and this is note was near to his body, saying, drive him fast to his grave. This is from Jacob. And when you see this, drive him fast, you will remember when the Marquis said this, when he was just hurrying up with his car, and was not caring about the small little boy. Now we are coming to the questions part about this chapter. Here, as you can see, this is the first comment. It's unbelievable that you people cannot take care of your children. I hope my horses aren't hurt. And these words were said by whom? By the Marquis of Evremont, and to the people in the street when his coach passed over a little child, and it was a very bad situation, and he was just not caring about anything but his horse. Second one, you are a philosopher, what's your name? When he called Charlie Darwin, Ernest Devers, a kind of philosopher, when he was finding him just saying sorrow words to the father of the son, he was just making fun of him in front of his men and the other people, and just throw them some coins. Okay, and now you have 3 questions to answer. The first one, what was the Marquis' reaction after killing the child? And as you know, he was not take care at all of their children, or something had happened. Question number 2, how was the Marquis' nephew? He was Charlie Darnay, and he was changing his name by taking his mother's name to stay with this name in London. And the last one, what was Charlie's opinion of his family? He thought that the name of everyone was hated all over the country. They were oppressed and cruel land owners. He did not want to be associated with such disgraceful family, so he tried hard to change his name. Thank you for listening. Please listen to the audio of chapter 5, study hard, and please I answered your questions. Here you have the model answer for chapter 5 here from the beginning. Please watch the video more and more, just to get the full information from it. See you next time, inshallah.